Hi, I am Saffudin. I'm a singer-songwriter from Kashmir, and I'm going to play a few songs for you guys and tell you what those songs mean to me. So, this song, Gah Chon Pewan Gat, which means you are light, sheds on my darkness. This is a song written by a poetess from long back, probably 16th century, named Haba Khatun, also titled later in the 1800s as the Nightingale of Kashmir. Her poetry reflects the melancholia of losing someone you love and longing for them. In this particular case, Haba Khatun was wedded to the last indigenous independent ruler of Kashmir. After that, it has been a series of invaders and occupations. He was overthrown. Trickery was a huge part of it. He was tricked by the Mughals because he guarded Kashmir thrice when it came to the military attacks. But he was later tricked by the Mughals and is called for a truce and thereby jailed in the foreign lands. And it is said that his wife, Haba Khatun, a poetess, roamed the meadows of Kashmir singing and longing for him to return, which unfortunately never happened. And since then, a series of invasions overtook Kashmir's history and a lot of turmoil. So I think that longing echoes throughout the historic chapters of Kashmir. So this is called Gah Chon. Gah Chon Pewan Kate Akilate Hamna Gah Chon Pewan Kate Akilate Hamna Gah Chon Pewan Kate Yaar sate Mohabbat roza so Mohabbat roza so Yarda vanj phate akyate hamna Gah Chon Pewan Gate Akilate Hamana Yavne myan kirmis pate Kemyovan ragneyak Kemyovan ragneyak Kemyovan ragneyak Menozo at sate Akilate Hamana Gah Chon Pewan Gate Akilate right, so the next song which I'm going to perform, it's called Nisar Main Teri Galiyon Pe Watan by a prolific poet named Faiz Ahmed Faiz. And why this poet is important to me and why this poetry speaks to me in volumes is because it somehow defines culture in the modern times. You know, what we consume in terms of the arts, what we consume in terms of the information, you know, the language we speak, the films we are influenced by, the ideologies we subscribe to. All of this is, you know, the culture we follow, and is not only limited to this place where we are born. So I think I personally subscribe to, you know, the ideologies of Faiz's ideals in his poetry is something which speaks in volumes to me, and the fact that it was written in an oppressive regime back in the 70s in Pakistan, and the way that the turbulent situation has continued, and still the poem is significant to me. Again, I think it again tells us that the importance of language, so to speak, in the subcontinent. Urdu is a language, you know, I think being a Kashmiri, Urdu is also a part of my upbringing, despite the fact that the language I speak is Kashmiri, my mother tongue, my native tongue, but we have also a historical connection with this language. So, and this poem, Nisar Main Teri Galiyon Mein Watan, is special. निसार में तेरी गलियों पे वतन, निसार में तेरी गलियों पे वतन, के जहाँ चली है रस्म के कोई ना सर उठा के चले, जहाँ चली है रस्म के कोई न सर उठा के चले, जो कोई चाहने वाला तवाफ को निकले, नजर झुका के चले जिस्मो जान बचा के चले, नजर चुरा के चले जिस्मो जान बचा के चले, बहुत है जुल्म के दस्ते बहाना जो के लिए, जो चंद ले जुनू तेरा नाम लेवा है, बने हैं हवस मुद्दई भी मुल्सिफ भी, किसे वकील करे किसे मुल्सिफी चाहे। मगर गुजारने वालों के दिन गुजरते हैं, तेरे फिराक में यूं सुबह हो शाम करते हैं, गरज तस्वूरे शामो शहर में जीते हैं, गिरफ्त सायाओं दीवारों दर में जीते हैं। निसार में तेरी गलियों पे वतन, निसार में तेरी गलियों पे वतन। Alright, so the third song which I'm going to play for you guys is मैं नहीं मानता. It's a poem written by Habib Jalib. Again, a fearless poet, so to say. Fearlessness was one of the main attributes of the writings of Habib Jalib. You know, sticking up to the establishment, as a punk rocker would say. I think that's what a definition in my sense was of Habib Jalib. He was, fearless with his words. And मैं नहीं मानता is a statement of resistance, a statement of refusal, a statement of denial of ideals of you don't adhere to, you feel are oppressive, you feel go against the values of humanity, and you through your craft of poetry make a statement that this won't go down with me as a human being. And I think again stands the test of time for me as a piece of art. So I made a rendition of it very similar to the way Habib Jalib recited this poem himself, and it was in my debut album Bulbuls. And here it goes. दीप जिसका महल्लात ही में जले, चंद लोगों की खुशियों को लेकर चले, वो जो साए में हर मसलहत के पले, ऐसे दस्तूर को सुबह बेनूर को, ऐसे दस्तूर को सुबह बेनूर को मैं नहीं मानता, मैं नहीं जानता, मैं नहीं मानता, मैं नहीं जानता, मैं नहीं मानता, मैं नहीं जानता। फूल शाखों पे खिलने लगे तुमको, जामुरिंदों को मिलने लगे तुमको, चाक सीनों के सिलने लगे तुमको, इस खुले झूठ को जहन की लूट को, इस खुले झूठ को जहन की लूट को मैं नहीं मानता, मैं नहीं जानता, मैं नहीं मानता, मैं नहीं जानता, मैं नहीं मानता, मैं नहीं जानता। तुमने लूटा है सदियों हमारा सुकून, अब न हम पे चलेगा तुम्हारा फसून। चार अगर दर्दमंदों के बनते हो क्यों, तुम नहीं चार अगर कोई माने, अगर तुम नहीं चार अगर कोई माने, अगर मैं नहीं मानता। So that was मैं नहीं मानता, and I'm Ali Saffudin signing off. Thank you.
What's up everyone, my name is Ahmer. I'm a rap musician, music producer from Srinagar, Kashmir. I've been making music for quite a while, and my music comes from the streets. My music talks about what we go through, what we see every day in a region like this, which is sort of disputed and has faced a lot of troubles and political turmoil. So coming from a region like this, it's very difficult for musicians to make music and to do something in terms of art or anything else that's like sort of still considered to be taboo and alien. So yeah, that is something about me, and we are going to start off with a song that I made a year ago, I guess. It's called Ruk, and we are just going to perform that for you. I'm going to perform a few songs for you, and we're going to start off with Ruk. एक तरफा है इंडस्ट्री और एक तरफा है दिल मेरा, एक तरफा है खाली जेब और एक तरफा है दिल बड़ा, एक तरफा है खुद से प्यार और एक तरफा है खुद से खौफ, एक तरफा है माँ के आंसू, एक तरफा वो लड़ती रोज, एक तरफा है कैदी सारे, एक तरफा है खुली छूट, एक कंधे पे असलियत और एक कंधा बस बोले कितने जख्म, हर दिन खरीदा एक कफन, एक तरफा लगता मजबूत में, एक तरफा जिंदा ताबूत में जन्म, एक तरफा खून का जश्न और एक तरफा खून का वजन, हर बूंद से बनता जुनून ये मेरा, मैं आतिश में ढूंढूं फिर साहिल के कदम, एक तरफा सवाब है, एक तरफा गलत तो है क्या करे रस्म और रिवाज है, हम ही गुलाम है, एक तरफा तो करना है कहना पर हम तो खिलाफ है, असली नकली क्या दे दो इन्हें क्लाउड तुम्हें समझ आए फर्जी क्या, असूल पे चलने का कूदा नहीं, सोच छोटी इनकी दुनिया, यही तो फर्क है, अहमर एक दर्द है, ये रैपर एक तरफ है, यही तो फर्क है, अहमर तो अर्श है, तू तो बस मेरी झलक है, 2012 में कोई ना था साथ, स्टूडियो था खाब गाने फोन पे रिकॉर्ड, 2019 में दी इन गेम, सर पे अब ताज रखा सब मैंने याद, वो भी तो फर्क है ना शायद, या अंदर ही अंदर पॉलिटिक्स कैसे भी करके बस अहमर हो गायब, मुझ पे इल्जाम कहीं लिहाज नहीं, मुझे सुनते हैं लोग कितने, आखिर होता इन्हें बर्दाश्त नहीं, गिराने की साजिश में बैठे नकली आलम में, फेम के पीछे लौंडे भागे तब भी ना होते मुतासिर, ये खेल ना सबके बस की चाहते, लड़की गाड़ी छूटी इनकी बस भी लेके हाथ में लाठी, कटे सांप के सर भी दिखी जब खुद कर्जी मैंने राह ही बदली, खाया ना मैं किसी के हक की और ये चाटते थे मेरी पर मैं दिया ना फक भी, अलग कपड़े से बना मेरा कोई ना दर्जी, अब तो कर्श निजाम सुने हर एक बस्ती, ये होना ही था, होना ही था, ये होना ही था, होना ही था, ये तो होना ही था, होना ही था, रब की रज़ा, नामुमकिन कब का हुआ। नामुमकिन कब का हुआ। So yeah, that was Rook, one of the tracks that I released out of nowhere. I just felt like I should write something. It's been a year, and it clicked really well with the people, mostly the people who come from my hometown and who listen to us every day and who can relate to our stories and with what we are trying to tell. So this was sort of talking about what a musician like me goes through, our struggle basically, and how hard it is coming from a region that is very conservative and still doesn't understand what music making is and how much effort it takes for an artist to come up with something. I was in a zone where I felt that I'm taking it back to the back to zero and starting from scratch when I wrote this, and it felt so good, because as you grow, you are like caught up with a lot of complications as a musician as well. The more higher you get, and the more successful or whatever happens in your life, you basically have a new challenge every day. You have to deal with a lot of things, and it depends on a musician, like how far you want to go and how big your vision is. So for people to understand it, understand where we are coming from and what we are going through, you need to talk to them, and you need to like have a conversation with your fans, with the people who listen to your music, and maybe they might relate to whatever you're trying to say. The scene in Kashmir has grown so much in terms of hip hop, and it's so beautiful to see it. We started off with, I guess, 5-6 rappers back in 2012, and from there on we have reached like a huge number. There are so many rappers trying to do something, and the community also that we started, the collective that we have started, has also inspired a lot of musicians and a lot of artists who like hip hop music. So they also want to do something like us, or they want to express themselves. So Rook is gonna be one of those tracks that will talk about like what a musician goes through and what an artist might be going through. Check. Check. Я тамана есть быть талон дэс коцун это залан занго патан тоде тарун кабеланы кын поланы нар солла савсмас это тазаксы Я тамана мют собру казыр мушкилатын вайрлытырлал кэдетти маккакыр сэндай тафан бы кяса караксы Kaneka paskara tuwa ye talagatsı I'm से स्कोट कहते खड़ा कहते रोजे Zero goat पर से जोर कहते पोसे Busu मोती सा सोत करा बोस पतन बुछा पोत ये मैं खोत बाहर सापा खोले Zai pichaga हरेज इमजर केज Hip-hop खा पतन वेश बना करा तब्रेज Öşelet कर जिका थे बोसक ना मुकाबली में आक अगर रोशन वापस आव अगर तुझी पे का साव Balın lëç kravan behavej tut bav Jetmës pajti hez na rat Willet bano me qat Këbi swëgj me lat Këllis kësën gat Këtë son dhe bav Ja ku ka lëk hel baja Jeta kam gëj fil Vaq të spera lil baja Bëjl t'ka hëll Vëqit sëri cëll Suon o shkun Ëra kina pëna mëjl baja Ja ta mana ishte bëtë su talëm Kësë të koqën e të calon Zangë pëtën të të darur Kap këllë në Gëjt pëllë në Nar sola Sabës më zeta tasa këzësë Ja ta mana mjut Së blu këzër mishkilatën Vallë të lal Kërit të ma këkër Zënë të fën bë Kja sa kërëkësë Ka një kapës këna Duhu jetë në lagërësë Barus për në spanës për Bejëm bë banus Mohabbat i tundi Jem jorvat nus Vaktës karta proceshi bakun Kalmu kirat Shrinë takun Jele canak cë vat Sovat i cekun Sabër që sat Sa në kajnen brakun Jele panak cë kif Labak cë nun Jele canak umid Panak cë kun Jele vanak cë kun Pozi kota Isori us kab Iskorë kata
Someone mention my name. Come gather all you youngers, throw your fists in the air. Let me see those hairs bobbing with a kick and a snare. Yeah, it's bigger than hip-hop and that's what you hear. Cause knowledge is power over all that you fear. I was born in a siege, never seen a day of peace. Blood in the streets, armored military jeeps. Patrol after patrol, checkpoints on my soul. Pray to God I die in my sleep. I see the bullets flying, my homies dying. Lying fools on the TV, justifying murder. Similar to rappers out here with fake personas. You garbage motherfucker, you fake Madonnas. All the rage inside, helping me survive. My thoughts and crosshairs, my body a prize. Like a runaway slave, I take shelter in caves. Writing epics on the walls with the blood of my peers. Guess rappers better be digging their graves. Kosher Nizam, stronger than ever. Turning slaves to free men.
So that was my track Kun from my album, from my sophomore album Azli, featuring one of the pioneers of Kashmiri hip hop, MC Cash, who was a blessing on the track because it's been a long time. Like, he hasn't put out music since 2016. He hadn't put out music, and it was a challenge to get him on a song, but I just had this circle that I wanted to complete. Since my first album came out, I had a skit in the album called Roshan. If you feel like checking out my music, you can. It's on Spotify. It's everywhere. I have dropped 2 albums. My first album was Little Kid Big Dreams, and my second album, the recent one, was Azli. And I just have this arc going on when it comes to my music. If you want to talk about my music, I have this arc that goes on. Every song is connected with each other, and when it comes to the albums, I just have this continuation of stories connecting with each other. That I feel is very important when it comes to album making, because not a lot of people can create good albums when it comes to musicality, and albums are a huge task and the most celebrated, and according to me, when it comes to music making. So we take 2 years, 3 years to make an album, sit around and keep working on it, keep adding up new things to it, because we want albums to be very powerful, and we want them to be very impactful, and most importantly we want there to be a story behind each and every project that we put out. So this track with MC Cash is a huge milestone in my life and everyone else's. Whoever was on the crew has been on the crew, my people, like the entire collective, because we really have seen all the phases of hip hop when it comes to Kashmir, and to get the biggest known rapper on your track is really huge, because he has also inspired me in a lot of ways. So the track is about, I feel like it's about hope. I feel like that is missing in a region like this, and I feel like it's important for the people of Kashmir to know, despite all the troubles and every game that they play with us, whoever is trying to play with us in a region like this, which is like geographically very tense, and it's between two countries who are like going at each other since inception. So for me personally, right now my only goal is to give people hope with the upcoming music as well. I want to like talk about hope. I want to let people know that we can do it, and what better way to do it than having like Roshan on a track and making music with him. And I personally believe this track has really inspired a lot of people already, and down the line I feel like they're going to consider this to be very important. So yeah, moving on to the final track that I'll perform. It's called ID, and we are just going to perform it.
पुराना हिप हॉप कश्मीर कहानी सुनोगे तुम सब तो एक दिन ऐसा हुआ।
बैठा था अपने दोस्तों के साथ लाल चौक, चाय पी रहे थे लाला के पास, अचानक से हिला दुकान, ग्रेनेड की आवाज, मेरे दिन की शुरुआत हुई गोलियों के साथ। देखा खिड़की से सब आग ही आग, आसपास देखो दिख रही बस लाश ही लाश। मेरे दोस्त की गाड़ी चल गए उस पार, अभी भी सब सदमे में, जाना चाहते उस पार, कुछ पता नहीं, पकड़ेंगे मुझे शक पे और वजह नहीं, निकला वहां से डर के कुछ बचा नहीं, कोई ना मेरे घर पे बस फिक्र वही जिक्र ना करना, तो बोला दोस्त ऐसे तैसे करके, काबू किया खौफ हालातों से लड़के, जान पे खेले लोग, दिखी मुझे मौत की परछाई, आज वो हंसी बहुत। रुक 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 पंक रहा है, कहानी चलती रहेगी। तू ही ग्रेनेड फेंका क्या, तू हमें दिखता है उन जैसा, इस गाड़ी में आखिर क्या है, तेरा आईडी कहाँ है, तू ही ग्रेनेड फेंका क्या, तू हमें दिखता है उन जैसा, इस गाड़ी में आखिर क्या है, तेरा आईडी कहाँ है। वो पूछे मुझे
तू तो वही है जो गाने है बनाता, देखा तुझे तो अखबारों में भी आता।
हाँ मैं वही हूँ, आजादी मेरी भाषा, झूठ को कुचल के करूँ सच का खुलासा,
ऐसा ये तराजा
बेरहमी का तमाशा, जालिम खून का पैसा काटे सुकून की आशा। अब तुम सोचो ये खेल कौन है खेलता हमारे साथ, लिबास सफेद पर लाल क्यों है इनके हाथ, तुमको बहकाना भटकाना तो है मन की बात, ना समझो तुम घबराए ना ये मन जो आज गुमनाम, तू बस चुपचाप मीडिया की बकवास हो, तू अनजान असलियत से रोके हमें हर नाके पे, क्योंकि हम गलत हैं इनकी नजरों में, तब तुम समझोगे। देखो एक और नाका आया, वही सवालात गुलामी का साया, तू ही ग्रेनेड फेंका क्या, तू हमें दिखता है वो जैसा, इस गाड़ी में आखिर क्या है, तेरा आईडी कहाँ है, तू ही ग्रेनेड फेंका क्या, तू हमें दिखता है वो जैसा, इस गाड़ी में आखिर क्या है, तेरा आईडी कहाँ है।
Yeah, that was the final track but not the final track in terms of how much music we have put out. So if you want to check out more music, it's out there, so that you get a better understanding of what we are trying to do and what we talk about. There are translations out there for people who don't understand Urdu, Hindi, Kashmiri, because I rap in all of these languages. And yeah, the track that we just performed is called ID. It's about like identity, you could say. The track mostly comes from paranoia. I feel like it's about like fear. Whenever you step out of your place, in a region like this, you are surrounded by people who will ask where you're coming from and where are you going. Every day you're going to deal with such people, and I feel like this is a place that no one is still aware of what it is actually. It's such a mess that we can't even like understand and comprehend what this place is about. Because since we were born, we have seen a very chaotic side of this region, and I don't feel like there was any other side to it. There has been chaos, whether that's like political, everything else. I believe it's very troublesome, and we come from we are a product of that, I believe. So ID is like a, I feel like, package of events that have occurred in reality. Like it is about like certain events that took place over a period of time that I have like turned into a story, you could say, so that I could like easily express and talk about those events, and people over here are very familiar with what I'm talking about. So yeah, I mean, that was about it. And there is a huge discography that I've like already put out so early in my career that you guys should check out if you feel like, if you are a fan of rap music and where it actually comes from. I believe that it's a huge responsibility to put something in words and like put it out there for the world to listen to it. And you got to have like certain, you got to have this authenticity when it comes to putting those words together. And I believe that we are trying to do that in a region like this. The entire collective, we care a lot about our roots, our identity, and with every song, each and every song, we are trying to, put it back there, put it back on the map. When we feel like it's like slowly fading out, we are trying our best to like put it back into the picture with every song. So that I feel like is very powerful, and it's just very hard to make music in a region like this, but we are trying our best. So whoever liked this session, you can go and check out other songs and whatever you feel like. Thank you so much. Kashmiri music has a beautiful history coming from a region like this that is caught up between two countries, and geographically it's a mess, and there's a lot of chaos, there are a lot of feelings that this music has to provide to the listeners, because that is the kind of region that we come from. As far as folk music is concerned, if you look at our culture also, Sufism has played a huge
role. And I feel like somewhere down the line, even if I'm unaware of folk music or something, it has been introduced to me by a friend, by someone else, because people find themselves in it more because they can relate to it a lot more. And I feel like Ali can talk
Also,
about.
like what sets this Kashmiri folk music apart from rest of mainland India, or even like the music from subcontinent, like it's an amalgamation of various kinds of sounds from Central Asia, to taking some of it from Indian classical, something from the Pakistani side of it, something from Afghanistan, something from Persia, and as I said, the Central Asian countries like Tajikistan, Uzbekistan. So and also the fact that there has been a connection through Silk Route to this place, and it used to be a cultural melting point for all those Central Asian civilizations. So the folklore is very rich in terms of its historical background, and as Ahmer said, like there's also a geographical aspect to it. So I think, yeah, as in terms of the modern times, there is a huge heritage which needs to be tapped into and brought forward to the current listeners, and the fact that most of the times the old folk melodies don't fit well into the modern structures of music, but I believe that is not the case with music. The Kashmiri folk music sits very well into modern structures, but yeah, this is where the challenge lies. The challenge is to keep the the soul alive, the sound alive, as well as take it forward.
A lot of fusion and everything that is
Yeah,
happening,
that's
like renditions.
what
Even
we-
if you look at Ali's music, what he tries to do is he tries to like blend in poetry from some of the great names that we have had in the history of like poets in Kashmir, and he tries to like blend in, does fusion with folk music, and does a lot of renditions as well. So the whole purpose of that is to keep the culture alive and keep our language, our identity, everything alive. So it's a very powerful thing.
So also when you go through the history of Kashmir, like it's really inspiring in a way that the kind of poets, the kind of composers. I think I can cite one as Haba Khatun. She's a 16th century poetess, who I also see as a beautiful composer. The compositions have lived long to reach us, and I've done a few renditions of her compositions, and it also has, through the passage of time, it has reached us through generations, and the fact that the compositions are still alive, and that's what the beauty of folklore is. Like you kind of inherit it from the place you are born in.
I mean, hip hop has also grown a lot in terms of like authenticity and like true representation of where we are coming from. If you look at it locally, we started off with 5-6 rappers back in 2012, and right now Kashmir has, I don't know, we can't even count how many rappers there are doing different things. And the most beautiful thing that has happened in the last few years is that people are like trying to embrace their own language and trying to use that in the art form, and they are like not feeling ashamed, or they're not sort of what society has made us feel like, even in our school days we used to feel like speaking in Kashmiri is going to be a huge crime, and till date people struggle a lot
There
with
is
that.
this notion that whatever is homegrown is kind of backward, and whatever comes from the outside world is it is to be cherished, and it is to be upheld. So I believe the modern Kashmiri music is trying to break that stereotype as defining the new cool for our generation. Like speaking in our own mother tongue
It's
is
very
important. Is
very
understanding our
empowering.
history, understanding our geopolitics is important. So I believe music plays an important role, and the mediums we choose, like the way I have done, like with my album Bulbuls. The medium is all out rock music. It's a heavy sounding rock album, or in Ahmer's case, Kun is through the various soundscapes of hip hop. So we are telling our stories through a worldwide medium of an art form which is accepted worldwide, and the sounds which are accepted worldwide. So it's more of a cross communication happening. What we consume from the outside world, there's this information explosion. There's a lot of consumption of information through the internet. So whatever we consumed, we added our own flavor to it, and we pushed the envelope.
That's how we connect with the world. With our music and whatever we are trying to do, we just connect with the world. Because music at the end of the day also has no boundaries. So even an album like Ali's or my album, the main purpose of it was to let the world know, give a proper visualization of where we are coming from and what we are going through every day. And I feel like music is all about expressing and that sort of thing.
Yeah, it's kind of a difficult question to ask to an artist, because being positive and also being an artist are very difficult in our current times, because there is no way forward as I see, but you have to create your own way if there is any. So I think as I said, the interaction with the outer world gives us new possibilities. The technologies we have to create on our own content, to produce music the way we do, is also a privilege of our times. So I think
I feel like there is no industry in a place like this, and to slowly and slowly build it, gradually build it, we have already started doing that. We've been doing that for so many years. Ali has been making music for so many years. I've been making music for so many years. The thing that is setting this apart, and even if you look at the South Asian subcontinent, what it's setting us apart would be that we are being very authentic with our music. Even if you look at the mainland, things are becoming very commercial and getting very saturated with time. They are like, everything is sounding the same, and I feel like that is the reason why we are also looked at in a very different way when some of us are trying to break into that industry. And it's a huge struggle for artists coming from this region to also like explore that
I think
industry.
where I believe the challenge lies for artists like me and Ahmer is that to there we come with our own narrative, we come with our own storyline. We are not only musicians, but I believe we are storytellers. We tell stories of where we come from and where we belong, and we have opinions which we reflect through our music, and that narrative doesn't have as many takers as so to say the contemporary music would have. So to pave a path of your own is the challenge we face. And I believe somewhere in a third world country, if you're a musician and you choose to select this art form as a form of expression, then it becomes very difficult for you to find of motion into it, as opposed to what happens, the way work happens in a other industry based work, the way it happens in movies or other entertainment industries. It's not the case in our art form. It's very difficult to survive on it, and as well as to thrive on it, because it's you painting, shooting in the dark, and it's more of a catharsis. As I said, it's personal. That's why we do it. We don't do it for the fortunes or the As I see it has many professional shortcomings. As a professional option, it has a lot of shortcomings, but we do it because there is a personal connection to it. So I believe as long as that personal connection stays strong between an artist and his art form, things will evolve, and we will find new ways to take this forward.
Because these days you have to be very smart. It's difficult to tell these stories in a place like this, but I feel like the goal would be somewhere. Even Ali must be thinking, and I've been also thinking that the goal must be that we start empowering our own, musicians or our own music, and we start like giving it more hope. And I feel like that would be sort of the plan for the
doing things more collectively is something I've understood along the line.
As a community,
a single artist cannot make a scene. Two artists don't make a scene. It's a bunch of artists who believe in a similar cause, or do it for the love of it, and it's like a wave. They rise together. So
SOS is a rap group consisting of 2 rappers, 2 MCs from Kashmir, known by the name of Saeed Arslan and Tufail Nazir, and they are doing pretty good. They are like trying new things with their music. They are being very lyrical, and they are trying to do something different. They're trying to like touch upon the industry standard like music. That's like happening in the mainland.
It's a skillful duo.
Skillful
their
duo.
craft.
Skillful duo, very technical, very lyrical, and trying to push the game and trying to bring something new to the table. So I'm like,
also
I'm
very
really
ambitious to crack the game.
Yeah, we are very connected to them because we have done a track, Dazan, together, and I've done so many songs with them. So they are a part of our collective, which is called Persianism.
Yo, check, this is SOS straight out of Srinagar. I'm Tufail.
मैं हूँ आतंकी.
And we come from Srinagar. So we released an EP last year, which was Keef. So today we're gonna perform a couple of songs. So let's go. The first track will be Kalburfi, and the track is about all the carpet weavers in Kashmir. All the artists, shout out to them. Let's go.
Let's go.
Check. Check 1 2.
Check.
पढ़ के पत्थर लिख के चोर जिस पढ़ने से मिले साहिब अभी वो पढ़ना है और बातों पे गौर करूं समझ मीर की या फिर 600 से फिर तो मैं पढ़ूं फंसूं मैं दजाल के जोल सवाल ये तोल अशार ये जोड़ हर शार में मौत दवात खरोश दोपहर में खौफ गुलाम सब लोग अवाम में क्रोध तुफैल में तोड़ हराम ये सोच ये तेज़ेर गसा ज़बर में कत ज़ हवा तज़र खरपाट से मरा नफर ये तेहेरी वसा तबर च कूद दिपची थज़र आसमान पेट वाला पत्थर पन वून कलिन जाना यथा वना काल बेवी यम रुपय चरी एस ना करा जाल सजी हाथ बाय हाथ वसा पंजी या गई चाल बेजी SOS अति वा मतन हशी बदना यथा वना काल बेवी बदना यथा वना काल बेवी चांदस मज़ SOS अति वा मतन हशी बदना यथा वना काल बेवी
क्या को sonnegar, tycker att kall desi, den dag så det ochen kash.
Jag är gal bevi.
Ta luper ke se tes, vet man se nav kaji, andra man kan ko smatra vi us में चलना जी खुद ही को कर बुलंद ताकि हर तकदीर से पहले खुदा बंदे से खुद पूछे कि पता तेरी रजा क्या है इकबाल ने ये कहा क्या है पर दाढ़ी लंबी ना पाले तो उसकी सजा क्या है सजा क्या है हर और मरीज तो कौन हफीज कर गौर हर चीज में कौन है प्लीज तेरा कौन तावीज और कौन अजीज यहाँ कौन नचीज और कौन नफीस ये तो स्कलिस दीवार टोल सुकूत पच्चू खोल अथवा से ताले ढोल يتعلم دراسة سكوت بچكوت
يمو وطو فيري غول پن وون کلين جانا يتا بنا کال بفي Yum trupai tsari esna karan jal sazi Hat by hat vasa panji yagai jal bazi Jandas maz SOS eti yiva matan hashi Padna yatha vana kal bavi Padna yatha vana kal bavi Jandas maz SOS eti yiva matan hashi Padna yatha vana kal bavi Jana yatha vana kal bavi Yum trupai tsari esna karan jal sazi Hat by hat vasa panji yagai jal bazi Jandas maz SOS eti yiva matan hashi Padna yatha vana kal bavi Padna yatha vana kal bavi Jandas maz SOS eti yiva matan hashi Padna yatha vana kal bavi. So this was Kal Bafi, and the next track which we will be performing is Kotarbazi. As Kotarbazi means pigeon rearing. This song is about all the people who rear pigeon in Kashmir and who take care of them like they are there. So they treat them as their pets. So let's do it for them. Let's go. The second track is Kotarbazi.
Dadu ka sabas cel yeta phal wabras athini yiva yaman simbada tal lobras makai phel vichit vasalal gobras eti sarni pilna ma phalyana dina seva gal phal buom na jana kya kara kotar bazi se chuan ad mubarak isna nokar kasi as vichit trava karun gas basa na chirit charpa vasa isna kasne deva hokar kasi jana kya kara kotar bazi jana kya kara kotar bazi as vichit deva pathar pak rava vat sala poti khasa boti zant homut man mokal kansi tulbe pathar gobre vanayas kat zagya pyokhat sata sur was ich piri acha chesha budu thukmut asak ban gandai raska gardan gandi chok par trevit ban kadai maska hazra mesara shuba taj fakiri te payas pai kam dev hemva bacha miri imani kamil mangos kya kari te krank hakiki imami mehdi zalak nur kya sois nat salebi nar haziri Divana varkan pachuti bi lekha Duti bi nagas masala tvasa de volet gari bi braka Bindici vandici sare pachura bas kasa tikiri vasa livri taka poz rapper ka fikri ni khasa Es doshvoy chaka sirk sinas dirk tu kali gird chavas vagir lagit birk busta gadra tu kundur maslak es kuni dirk tu cheri varak bas bari jild
Azik se zilnas Yago patyal panj Chapaki tas khanj Az brutu galat lanj Azik se bishnu Chirit vali daj Tiri kadit laj Azik se barn kaj Me koran shuba tunmut korban Me seher karan bozun kaitam Mas panun bojan Me panun lagi divan shaitan Salam vachit marjan To te trakar pavan pathar Ye lakut parman Yum ranga tsari mena laga bas ya pasand Hip hop chomuta tonari me chuni kasam Az vana buteliet lukan se kemik vazand Tu sari ya bas maskus nayit fam Mas semas dima tambal ras Tu vaya laire SOS sahat sarkar likhai sarkar kar nairi vari As pazis per fana tu chaka vari Tel chun myun khoon kit ke raili
phal gaj ab jana kya kara kotar bazi se chuan ad mubarak isna nokar kasi as vichit trava karun gat basa na chirit charpa vasa isna kasne deva hokar kasi jana kya kara kotar bazi jana kya kara kotar bazi as vichit deva pathar pak rama vat sala poti khasa boti zant homut man mokal kasi.
This track was Kotarbazi, and the next track which we are gonna perform now is Kosher Flex. As you know, kosher is Kashmiri, and flex, you know, it's a different kind of flex being a Kashmiri. So let's do this. Kosher Flex. Check. Check 1 2.
Shut up, bitch!
Get on a kosher flex, get on a kosher flex. Esa cara kosher flex, esa cara kosher flex. Get on a kosher flex, get on a kosher flex. Esa cara kosher flex, esa cara kosher flex. Esa only kosher flex, esa only kosher flex. Seri cara kosher flex, seri cara kosher flex. ऐसा उन्हें कौशल फ्लेक्स, ऐसा उन्हें कौशल फ्लेक्स, सही करा कौशल फ्लेक्स, सही करा कौशल फ्लेक्स। तो आता मैं कहाँ से डीटा हूँ, जहाँ ढुल्ले भी टिकते नहीं है, नौहटा कभी आके रुको पाऊँ, तुम्हारे जैसे हिलते नहीं है, मिस मार किए जाते माथे श्राव, निशाने यहाँ चुकते नहीं है, 1 साल पहले स्किल्स पे था डाउट, अब बोले भाई मिलते नहीं है, भिड़ते नहीं है सारे कीबोर्ड गैंगस्टर्स, बड़बड़ करते खाली इंस्टाग्राम पर, कोई फक न देते सारे दिग्गज पहले, कोई दिक्कत बेटे आना जहलम बंद पर, चैनल बंद कर, पीछे पड़ी CBI जो 2G पे चढ़ाए गाने GB डाई, हमें देख के नहीं होने लगा सनी दबाव, मैं 21 में कराऊं इनका BDI, CD लाई मैप पे रैप से छत्ता बल, ट्रैक पे तैरते हवल से घंटा कर, खरीदे लैक से कैप दे दबा कर, लश मिली कलकत्ता रैपर जो कटा कर, सुना मैंने जो भी लिखा तुझे लगा टिका देना चाहे लोने बीफ उसका बना था पूंता फिलोसॉफी मेरी बात में रैप गेम का नीचा स्टेट हरा सिरी नगर मदर फकर कोई टक्कर नहीं उधर खुदे तेरी खबर जिधर मिलेगा कफन नहीं सिफर से हम पहुंचे किधर कानो कान कोई खबर नहीं जुड़ी जैसे डा फंग हार्डर बेटर फास्टर स्ट्रॉन्गर भाई
मोटे भाई उठाऊं जब भी मैं खूनी ये कलम भगाऊं लोंडू को होकर से चलम बोले समर हबाइल इन सैलड लिया लपेटे में सीन को साल में करे वो बार चढ़ लिखे जो वर्सम करे जो अर्जम रखे ना कर्जम नाम में वजन अटाने में दर्जम साथी खुद कर्ज कम राजी ये मौके पे जान भी देने को बाजिशी लोंडू के प्राण फिर छीने वो फानी ये लफ्ज़ कलम में जाने जीने को जन्म से भागे मेरे दोस्त सारे तोड़े ना कैसे बच्चे रोडना है यहाँ बच्चे बोले बिना ठोक डाले वर्ष मांगे मैंने कार रोकना दे किल करा ट्रैक पे भाग के कौन तेरे फेवरेट रैपर का भी फेवरेट रैपर तो इज्जत से नीचे बैठ के देख ऊपर तेरे फेवरेट का भी फेवरेट रैपर नहीं होता इनसे कम बैक हर पंच पड़े गन जैक बारूद मेरे बम बैक हर बार मारो गन रैक देखे मौत छोटे घर बैक लड़के या चौक में रोक के ठोकते बोलते किसी से ज्यादा नहीं बंदे नहीं छोड़ के चोड़ में दौड़ते कोई भी किसी का प्यादा नहीं शहर में लोग कॉक ओढ़ के छिना जो सिर का सिराना भी अब असल शौक के मिले जो मौके तू भी गवाना नहीं है
Ya estaba na kosher flex, ya estaba na kosher flex, esa que era kosher flex, esa que era kosher flex, ya estaba na kosher flex, ya estaba na kosher flex, esa que era kosher flex, esa que era kosher flex, esa only kosher flex, esa only kosher flex, say que era kosher flex, say que era kosher flex, esa only kosher flex, esa only kosher flex, say que era kosher flex, say que era kosher flex.
बीट का करा जो कभी तबादला खत्म अरसास तेरा तो समाप्त था
बाजा फोड़ा तेरा लेके रबाब ना ऊपर सतह करे ना दे मुकाबला 10 साल से एक ही मीटर वही कीचड़ वही बार्स वही स्कीम्स वही दर्द वही दुख ओ शिट माफ करना ऑफ बीट होता आदतन यू एंड अकेला तूने सुना नहीं बड़ा बन चुको से बिलिया ऐसा पा जवा अलगन चढ़ी तरह पर हिंदान बरा लिफाफन कोसे लेके सी दुनार तुने दुकानन
किताबन ये ना ते तुम वो फ्यूर रुजु ना कुन कुती गोब्रो रिकॉर्डन तू ना पर सामा शूर तो तू दे मसले इस मकलो असले जब सब दुई मन करा क्या चरटे थरी बंदूक असले च मकलियो मन लोगी का चूनी होके रसूख
रोज लो por tu rap थोड़ा तापस दोस्त को proburin çok lagi mi atas rogios ven positive level में navas in chin kasi placas de hook in babas esa cara kosher flex esa cara kosher flex seri kari kosher flex seri kari kosher flex esa cara kosher flex esa cara kosher flex seri when you kosher flex seri when you kosher flex hey yo what's where esa I stole that school kosher flex nobody handed us nothing bro I knew shit sorry Jag tar mina kosher flex, jag tar mina kosher flex.
So this was Kosher Flex, and now as we completed all of the 3 tracks from the EP, which was namely Keef, and so we are coming up with a lot of new projects this year, so stay connected, stay tuned. Brrrah!